Hey guys, so today I'm doing a little bit different of a video. Normally I post videos about sales, marketing, and how to sell more final expense life insurance over the phone. But today what I'm doing something a little bit more travel based, and I'm testing this out because no one's really doing it in the space yet. And I think it would be really, really cool to introduce this to the final expense arena because I've never really seen anything like this. And I love traveling. I love traveling the world. I love traveling the country, and I love exploring unique places when I go and travel. So I'm thinking, hey, how can I combine my passion of traveling with my passion of insurance? And I said, voila. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to travel all across the country and all over the world, and I am going to find ways to correlate wherever I go and the unique places I go to life insurance. I'm going to use historically famous locations to help you guys increase your sales skills. So please bear with me on this journey. This is my first video doing it. I really don't expect it to be anything spectacular, and it's been very, very frustrating to say the least. So what I did is I went to Lizzie Borden's house. So Lizzie Borden was an axe murderer from Fall River, Massachusetts, and she supposedly killed her parents in the late 1800s. And I really think she did. After going to the house and seeing like everything and how it was set up, I stayed in the actual bedroom where I believe she killed her stepmother. So there's a picture of like her stepmother laying on the ground, dead, next to the bed that I slept in. And it's like the actual room. Like she actually was laying down right there. So it was pretty cool. It really wasn't that creepy. I thought it would be kind of creepy, but I had protection. So I had purification soap made by Wiccans and purification oil made by Wiccans. So my spirit was definitely protected. But nothing creepy crazy. At the Lizzie Borden house, it's actually a bed and breakfast. So it's pretty cool. You can go there. They bring you through a tour and they tell you the whole story of the house and the murder and everything like that. So when I was there, as I was searching for clues for the murder, I was looking for clues on how I can help you guys with your sales and how I can relate where I went to final expense life insurance and tips and tricks for closing. So I'm going to give you a little background story on Lizzie. I think this is important, so bear with me here. I think the history of it is pretty cool. I'm a big history buff, and maybe some of you guys are too. So I'm going to give a background story on this first, and then I'll get into the sales tips for it. So Lizzie in 1896, I believe it was, she said that she was in the barn outside their house the day her parents got murdered. And as you're going to see at the end of the video, I'm going to include some footage of actually what happened when I was there and like actually of the house. The barn is only like 30 yards from where the murder happened upstairs, and then downstairs in the house where her dad was killed. There's just no way that she didn't hear anything. I mean, or didn't know what was going on, because the barn was close enough to where you would hear someone getting chopped to death with an axe. Like someone would be screaming. Someone isn't just going to go down peacefully, and you would definitely hear that, and you would know what was going on. And also, the housemaid said she was resting on the third floor of the house and didn't hear anything as two people were murdered with an axe inside the house. So, just doesn't make sense. My theory: Lizzie's dad had a lot of money. My theory is Lizzie wanted to kill her dad and inherit the money. Maybe that's like the 1896 version of filing a life insurance claim, right? You just kill your parents. But and I think she was scared that her stepmother was going to inherit the money if her dad died. I don't think they liked each other. Lizzie was a single woman in her 30s in the 1890s, living with her parents with no kids. That was kind of weird back then, right? Like, usually women by that time were already married off. They lived with the other person's family. They had kids, or they were at least married, like living elsewhere. That was really late. Like, usually it happened a lot younger than that. So for her to be in that situation was a little. So I'm sure the relationship between her and her stepmother was a little tense at home anyway. So Lizzie said she was in the barn. The police came, and they realized that both the murders were actually 90 minutes apart from each other. So they're like, dude, you must have spent a long time in this freaking barn. And it was hot. It was the middle of the summer. So they decided that an axe must have been the murder weapon. They never found a murder weapon. The skulls were pretty brutally bashed in, and it was this long trial. It was a very, very popular case in Massachusetts at the time. It happened in a town called Fall River. Essentially, she got let off because they didn't have any hard evidence, but also at that time, like, people didn't think a woman could commit a crime like that. So there was like no way. The defense painted her as this like innocent woman. If you look at her, she looks pretty crazy. But the defense painted her as this innocent woman who could never do anything like that. And it ended up winning over the circumstantial evidence that the prosecution had against her. There was a lot of stuff. A lot of people said things that like pointed to her doing it, and just her like not really being emotional about this whole thing happening. There were so many things that pointed to her doing it. But anyways, It was really, really cool being at the house, seeing all the different parts of history, seeing all the old furniture, and seeing like just how everything was set up. It was super, super cool. So that's the backstory of it. When I was there, I found some clues for you guys to help you in your sale. So one thing I was thinking of when I was at the barn, right, in the backyard, is that Lizzie said she was in the barn and that the murders happened so close, and she didn't know that they happened. So all I could think about was when our clients fill out lead forms online, right, or when they request information from, say, it's a telemarketing company or whatever it may be, and they say that they didn't know, or that they didn't do it, or they don't remember. Even if you're calling a lead that like just filled it out. If any of you run your own ads on Facebook or YouTube, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like you'll get people who will tell you that they don't remember doing this, and they literally just did it. Like they did it like seconds before. And I didn't do that. I don't remember doing that. I already took care of it. So what it made me think as she was saying that she was in the barn, and it made me realize that I just have to keep pushing a little bit more. So maybe if in the interrogation, the police had just pushed a little bit more, they may have been able to get Lizzie to crack. Now, I don't know how hard they did push her with questioning. Her dad was pretty well known in the town, and he was kind of a rich businessman, and she was involved in her church a lot. She was kind of like a Protestant nun type of thing. So I don't know if the police really went in on her heavy like they would now in terms of interrogation, or if they had the same interrogation tactics as they do now. But all I know is that, listen, you can't take people's word for it, because there's no way that she was in the barn for that much time, and there's no way, even if she was, that she didn't hear what was going on because of how close she was to the house. But there was no hard evidence for it. They didn't have any footage. And we don't have any footage of our clients filling out these forms. But what I want you to realize is I just want you, when you call people, I want you to assume that everything they tell you in the first minute of the conversation is a lie, or it's not a whole truth. Okay, now that sounds kind of messed up, but people get scared. So Lizzie probably, when she was interrogated, she was terrified. She probably thought she was going to get caught. She made something up. Oh, I was in the barn for 2 hours. So, and then she just had to stick with that, because if she changed her story, then things would have flip-flopped. She actually did change her story a couple times. Her doctor prescribed her morphine, and he said it was because of the morphine. So she kind of got off that way. Her testimony was inadmissible in court. But I want you to take our client's testimony as inadmissible. So start taking the testimony that your leads give you when you first call them as inadmissible until it's further validated. So if someone tells you in the beginning they don't remember doing that, they didn't do it, they thought it was free, they thought it was this, that, they're not interested, just acknowledge what they're saying and then keep moving on, change the subject, talk about something else, move to a different part of the presentation, and then go back later and really dig into, hey, what do you have for insurance? When you were looking at this, what were you thinking about? Because as you get in touch with someone and you get like more in contact with someone, then you're going to be able to pull more information out of them. All right. So don't take what they say at face value. Another thing about the Borden trial that had me thinking about final expense was that like the prosecution had a case, they didn't have any hard evidence. So they had to try to convince the jury that she did do it or why she would do it. And then the defense had to convince the jury as to why she wouldn't do it. So they were trying to get the jury to focus on reasons why she couldn't have done it, because there was a lot of circumstantial stuff that pointed to her doing it. What it made me think about was how a lot of times agents will look for reasons why people won't buy instead of reasons why they will. So I want you guys to start focusing on reasons why they will buy if you find you're guilty of this. Perfect example, if someone says they already have insurance, that's not a reason that someone won't buy more insurance. It's really not, especially if someone just filled out a lead form. Like, you know that there was something on their mind when they did that. A lot of people recently got coverage. The only time when it really doesn't make sense is if someone got a policy like 35 years ago and they got like a multiple $100,000 whole life policy and there's absolutely nothing you can do. But that's like very, very rare. So what I want you to do is stop looking for reasons why your clients won't buy. Stop thinking that they all don't have any money. Stop thinking that they're all taken care of on insurance. Stop thinking that they don't want to talk to you. Because honestly, most of them don't when you first call them. So start looking for reasons why they would want to talk to you. Okay? If someone says, oh, my kids will take care of it, you want to be thinking in your head, well, they got kids. This is something that parents should want to take care of for their kids. The kids shouldn't have to handle this burden. If they say they already have insurance, I want you to be thinking, man, they believe in insurance and they pay their bill every month. They're like the ideal client. So start looking for reasons why people will buy instead of reasons why they won't, and I promise your sales will turn around. Lastly, one of the last things, there's two other things that I want to get into here, is Lizzie supposedly didn't shed a tear, wasn't emotionally distraught at all when she found out that her parents had passed away, and she wasn't emotionally distraught at all when she was interrogated about the murders. She didn't shed a tear. She didn't show that she was sad about anything happening. So it was like she didn't care that it happened. It was like she was like secretly happy that they were gone. We have clients that don't always care about their beneficiaries or the people that they say they're going to be their beneficiaries. So what I want you to do as you're going through your presentations, make sure to dig in and build that need and get your clients to really, really care about what's going to happen to their loved ones when they pass in terms of taking care of their final arrangements. Because if our clients don't have much money, odds are that their kids don't either. I don't know any rich, younger people who don't take care of their parents, unless their parents are just totally not good people. So that's a red flag, right? Someone's like, my kid's got a ton of money, but I'm broke. It's like, well, how close are you to your kids? And that really doesn't mean that they shouldn't leave anything to protect them. I've had plenty of wealthy clients who bought final expense plans for their children. I've had people with money buy final expense plans for their kids. I've had broke people buy final expense plans for their kids. So you don't want to, you want to build that need, but at the end of the day, you got to understand that if someone really doesn't care about what happens to their family when they pass, there's not much that you can do for that person. They don't have a need. The love isn't there. It is what it is. Some people have that disconnect from their children where they really don't care. And it's sad, but it's true, and that does exist. So if you run into people who express that sentiment, I would just move on, because that is one of those reasons that someone will not buy a policy. They don't care. They're almost happier that someone will have to deal with it. So there are a small percentage of the population that is like that. So when that happens, I would just move on. Just like Lizzie didn't care about her parents dying, she wouldn't have wanted to do anything to help them and protect them. She kind of wanted the opposite. Last thing I want you to think about here, as I was leaving, I was thinking, man, this was a huge unsolved murder case. Like, these people were brutally murdered in their house in the middle of the day. And there's so much weird stuff that pointed to Lizzie doing it, and she wasn't convicted. And all I could think about was how many sales we get so close to making, but we give up on. Now, Lizzie couldn't get tried again. She was tried once, and that was it. So she was innocent or acquitted. They couldn't try her again. You can't be tried for the same crime twice in America. But we can push our clients and go for the sale again. We can push again. We can push twice. We can push 3 times. We can push 4 times. So if you get off the phone with someone and you're like, man, I just don't understand why this person didn't buy. Maybe they don't know either. And a lot of times when you hang up with people, they're going to be thinking about these things after you get off the phone with them. So all I could think about was how many sales are left on the table across the country every single day, and how many unsolved crimes are left across the country every single day. People just not pushing, asking one more question, asking for yes one more time, going for the close one more time. So what I want you to do is try to minimize the amount of unclosed deals that you have. Go through your unclosed sales, go through your follow-ups, go through everyone that you've been in contact with, and just give them a call. Even if you're like 99% sure that they will never buy a policy in their life, just call them and ask them if they change their mind, and ask if they know anybody who may be interested in this type of thing. At least try to get a referral. So that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to play some footage here of the Bordens residence, and you guys are going to see what I saw. So thank you. So Lizzie said she was in the barn when the murder happened. She said she was right here, okay? And it happened right there. 2 people were hacked with axes. She was in a hot barn in the summer, in the 100 and whatever degree heat inside that barn, while someone is getting hacked to death. 2 people inside that house. She said she didn't hear anything. So Lizzie was in the barn, but she was literally, the murder happened literally like right in this bedroom right here, or that one. No, this one. Happened right up in this bedroom. Okay, this is the room where Andrew was found, or John Morse. So this is the couch that he was found on. And then if we look over here, Lizzie said she was out in the barn right outside there when it happened. And then right up this staircase over here, right there, right at that staircase right there, is where, right up the stairs, is where her stepmother was killed. So, like, how could she be out in that barn and not hear anything? It's really weird. This place is super cool. Mystery solved. Job well done.